Shalom, brothers and sisters. Grace, mercy, and peace be unto you. From Yahuwah, He's our Father, and Yahusha, He is the Messiah, the one that carries the burden of Yah, His voice, our High Priest, soon coming King. Hear, O Yeshua, Yahuwah, who is our Mighty One. He is one. There is no other Mighty One in existence than Yahuwah, and Yahusha is His voice. This is Brother Daoud coming again with the woman of virtue. This is part 2. We've learned from part 1. We have all sinned, transgressed the law, and fallen short of the commandments of Yah. Truth. Now it's time for correction. Have you noticed? The woman of virtue is always connected to a husbandman. It is not right for the man to be without the woman, or the woman to be without the man. Let's begin. Barashat, chapter 38, 1-4. The oral tradition, passed down from generation to generation, from father to son. 1. And it came to pass, at that time, that Yahudah went down from his brethren, and turned into a certain Adulamite, whose name was Heyarah. 2. And Yahudah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite, from Canaan, whose name was Shua. And he took her, and went in unto her. When you see he took her, he paid the fair price for her, as it is the custom even today. When you choose a wife, you pay the fair price for her. The ring. Some are more, some are less. 3. And she conceived and bare a son. And he called his name R. 4. And she conceived again, and bare a son. And she called his name Unan. 5. And she yet conceived again, and bare a son, and called his name Shalah. And he was at Kashyab when she bore him. 3 sons. Yahudah hit the mark every time. 6. And Yahudah took a wife for Ar, his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. It is lawful for a father to purchase a wife for his son. 7. And Ar, Yahudah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah slew him. Why? It is not stated. 8. And Yahudah said unto Unan, Go in unto your brother's wife, and marry her. What? Pop, my brother just died. Now you want me to go and have sex with his wife? Why are you telling me something like this? Son, this tradition has been passed down from the patriarch Abraham all the way to my father, Jacob. Now I'm passing it on to you. If your brother dies, and he does not have a child, a son, to hold his name, you are to go in to his brother's wife and marry her and raise up a seed to your brother. Oh, that's how it works? Yes, son. 9. And Unan knew that the seed should not be his. Yeah, his father just told him. And it came to pass when he went in unto his brother's wife that he spilt it on the ground. Spilt what? The seed. The babies. What is going on here? The reason for him going in unto his brother's wife was to give her a child. So he went in. He had pleasure with his brother's wife. And right when it was time for him to do his deed, that his brother's name will not be blotted out from the land, he pulled out. Here's his intent. Lest that he should give seed to his brother. He didn't want to give seed to his brother. He's a participant in his brother's name being blotted out from the land. What type of new wickedness is this? 10. And the thing which he did displeased Yahuwah, wherefore he slew him also. R died for wickedness. Unan died for wickedness. What was the common thing amongst them? Tamar. 11. Then said Yehudah to Tamar his daughter-in-law, remain a widow at your father's house. Grandpa? That's not right, is it? You purchased her for R. She is incorporated now in the family. Note, a woman who is outside of Yisharel, if she comes from the right bloodlines, the bloodlines that come from men can be incorporated into the family. The men cannot be incorporated into the family because their seed is not from Jacob. So if she goes home to her father's house, it will be shame. Let me paint a picture for you. When she first got married and the whole neighborhood heard that she was marrying into the royal line that comes from Abraham, they heralded her. They were like, wow, she's at the top of the food chain. But when she returns home, she will return home in shame. All of the women will be talking about her. She couldn't have a baby. She could not fulfill her obligation as a woman. Maybe she did something else wrong. She did not perform properly. You know how people get. They'll talk about you. So he said, remain a widow at your father's house till Shelah, my son, be grown. For he said, lest peradventure he die also, as his brethren did. Did he say that out loud? Did he say that before Tamar? Isn't he telling her exactly what he's thinking? You're a witch. I have regrets. I lost my 2 sons because of you. No, not because of Tamar. Because they were wicked. And he said, I'm not going to lose Shelah. He is my last son. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. She didn't give him a problem. She didn't talk back. She did exactly what he told her to do. 12. And in the process of time, the daughter of Shua, Yehuda's wife, she died. I'm so sorry, Grandpa. And Yehuda was comforted. Blessed are you that mourn, for you shall be comforted. And went up unto his sheep shearers to Timnah. I had to change this, because it didn't go up yet. He was about to go up unto the sheep shearers' convention at Timnah, he and his friend Heyarah the Adulamite. 13. One of the neighbors came along and told Tamar, saying, Behold, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep. Bing! Light bulb came on. Tamar began to scheme. She said, I heard the men talking before. They said when they go up to the sheep shearers' convention that there are a lot of prostitutes there. And the men pay the fair price to be with them for a night or until the deed is done. 14. So she said to herself, maybe I can go up by the road and I can pose as a prostitute. Maybe I can entice my father-in-law to give me a seed. I know that his wife just died. He must be lonely. So she put her widow's garments off from her, not mourning anymore. I got a plan. And covered her with a veil and wrapped herself and sat in an open place which is by the way to Timnah. For she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given unto him to wife. Grandpa, you didn't keep your word. 15. When Yehuda saw her, he thought her to be a harlot because she covered her face. I thought a harlot shows what you're going to get. Not in these days, I guess. They were fully covered. 16. And he turned unto her by the way and said, Go to, I pray thee, let me come in unto you. No, he didn't say that. No. Let me read this again. And he was walking down the street, and he saw her, and he made a U-turn. I wonder what was she doing? Was she gyrating? Was she doing the dance? I watched a vampire movie, with Aaliyah, and I watched the way she moved when she came into the club. Was she gyrating or doing something like that? She must have done something to catch his attention, because he turned back to her and said, let me get some of that. Skip the parentheses. And she said, it's going to be a lot of he said, she said. What will you give me? Because the stuff that I got here, I can take it, I can throw it up into the air, and it will create sunshine. So what price will you pay for sunshine, that you may come in unto me? We have to stop, don't we? I have a lot of questions. Don't you? All right. Was Yahuda a John? His name will be on the gates of the city. Was he purchasing a prostitute? Is it lawful for a man to pay the fair price and purchase a prostitute? Is it against the law? Has anyone seen it? Has anyone saw a law that states, you shall not purchase a prostitute? I'll tell you what I found. I found a law that states, you shall not prostitute your daughters to become a whore. What daughters? The daughters of Tisyaun, the seed that comes from Jacob. You cannot prostitute the daughters of Yesharo. Was Tamar one of the daughters of Yesharo? No. She was one of the daughters of Canaan. But she was incorporated into the royal line. Was Yahuda prostituting her? Well, it says in 15, when he saw her, he thought she was a harlot. She had her face covered. So he didn't know who she was. Am I promoting prostitution? I am asking questions. Always ask questions. Maybe you'll receive an answer. Let me tell you what Shaul said in the New Testament. He said, everything is permissible for me, but is it constructive? If it is not constructive, I will not do it. Is purchasing a prostitute constructive? Oh, yes. It comes the savage beast. What part of it is not constructive? AIDS, chlamydia, sexually transmitted diseases that could lead to death, that you could bring home to your wife and to your concubines. So there is a negative side. So guess what? I will not do it. Keep all of these things in mind as we go along. 17. And he said, I don't have any money. I will send you a kid from the flock. Grandpa, This shows that you are very naive, that you most likely haven't done this before. You cannot purchase a prostitute on credit. And she said, will you give me a pledge? What is she asking for? Collateral. Oh my. This Tamar is very intelligent. I love her already. I love smart women, women who think, women who scheme. My favorite woman in this whole book is Rebecca, Jacob's mother. So will you give me some collateral until you send me that kid from your flock? 18. And he said, what collateral shall I give you? And she said, your signet, your bracelets, and your staff that's in your hand. Grandpa, this is a prostitute, at least that's what you think, right? You just saw her by the road. You don't know this woman. Your signet is worth more than the kid from the flock. Your bracelets are worth more than the kid from the flock. Your staff. And I have a staff from CooYah. It is absolutely brilliant, beautiful. He makes some beautiful staffs. Your staff is worth more than the kid from the flock. Grandpa, I know good and well that you cannot be contemplating on giving her these items. No way could you even be thinking that. Let's continue. And he gave it to her. What? Do you see how naive Yehuda was? He gave all of these valuable items to a stranger, one that he thought that was a prostitute. When is it that the prostitute was considered to be a trustworthy person? And he came in unto her, and she conceived by him. Grandpa Yehuda always hits the mark. Continue to part 3. Shalom.